Hello and welcome to the Cheers Registry training series. In this video, we'll talk about how to complete and sign documents. So to start, you'll want to be logged into the registry and you'll want to be in site details. So you'll want to have the site open that you want to work on. On the list here, you'll see we have various documents listed. Today, we're going to be working on a CF2R. This is the MEC 20, which is for documenting the duct leakage results. So this process is the same whether it was the MECA 1 or the Alto 2. If you click on both of these have been completed, but if they're not completed, not started, you'll see they'll be blue like this. They'll indicate that they're not started, and that means that you can open it, enter your data, and then sign it. Now, if you have started the particular form, this will change from saying not started to not signed, which means that the document may be complete, may not, but it is in process and still needs to be completed. Now over here to the right is our document assignment tool. So if you're managing the project, but this is not your document to complete, what you can do is you can click on the button here, select from the list of members for the particular project, and we'll just say that this is the member that wants to or needs to complete this document. Click on send, and that will send them an alert letting them know that this document is ready for them to complete and that they need to come into the registry and complete that particular document. Now when they come in, or if you're just completing the document from within the registry, you'll simply just click on the button here, and that's going to open up our form that you're going to be working on. Now at the top here we have some basic tools. We do include the form name, including the variant. So you'll see the small letter at the end, the MEC 20A. There's several different variants that are designated by different letters, and so we let you know that there. The first button here is a toggle that will change the view of the form. So the default is to open in long form, but we also do provide you with what we call a short form. So if I click on this, you'll see down below, you'll notice that the screen changed. And so what we do is we remove all the information that is not necessarily relevant to your data entry and shorten it up so that it's just those particular items where you're going to need to make a selection, or where, for example, down here, this is a pretty important piece of information. So we left that in there. So if you're familiar with the form, once you've done this multiple times, you can go ahead and switch over to short form mode, and that'll allow you to have less information on the screen and let you get to what you need to for your data entry. For the purposes of this, we're just going to go ahead and toggle it right back. You can see now that the form is much longer. There's a lot more information on it. It may take you longer to scroll through and see everything that you need to. The next icon there is our signature button. So once the form has gone into a complete and passing state, then you'll be able to click this button. If you try right now, it's just going to let you know that the form is not ready to be signed, and it will not let you sign it. Next is save form and continue editing. So the form has certain save points already programmed into it. So if you start at the top of the form and you work your way down through and you don't skip anything, you don't jump to the to the bottom and then back to the front, you're going to hit those save points and you can get to the end and you never have to click the save button. But if you do go out of order, or you have to come back in and edit something, you may need to click that save button in order for the form to recognize it, save it, and update various items that are auto-calculated based on your information. So if the form is ever not doing something that you think it should, it's always best to come up here, click the save button. If that resolves your problem, great. If not, then go ahead and reach out to our admin support team, and we'll be happy to take a look and see if we can resolve that issue for you. The next button here is our close. So this will just take you back to the main site details page. And then last we have our status. So this is either going to say incomplete, or it will say fail, or it will say pass. Now, not all forms can go into a failing state. Sometimes it's going to be, usually the CF3Rs where you can sign them in a failing state. But for the CF2Rs, typically it's going to say incomplete. It may say fail. If it is fail, it will not let you sign it. It will have to be in a passing state. Now you may notice that there's a little down arrow here, and that's because we do provide you with some feedback as to either why it's incomplete or why it may be failing. So if you click on this, you can see it's going to take it and provide you with a list of items that are incomplete. So we need to go in section A down to item number 7 and enter some information there. So the little icon here will actually take you directly to that particular item. So if you're not sure where on the form it's located, you can simply click on that, and that's going to take us right down to item number 7 in section A, and that shows us that we need to make a selection here. So typically these items are going to be highlighted. They won't always be highlighted. Sometimes you can make a selection. If we look down here, you can see I can type into this box, and but it's not highlighted in yellow. So those items that are critical are highlighted in yellow. Those ones that may need your attention but may not are not going to be highlighted. I also mentioned that we do make some default selections. So if there's a particular item where 80% of the time a specific selection is made, then we've defaulted it to that selection to save you time. But you do need to go through, for example, this first item here, this air handling unit airflow determination method. 80% of the time it's going to be the cooling system method that's used, and so we've defaulted to that, but you may have used a different method. Heating system is probably 15% of the time. So you may have used that. You may need to change this to have the form work correctly. So make sure that you do go through and review all the items until you become very familiar with the form. You need to go through and make sure that all of the selections that are made are correct and accurate, so that you get a accurate form that you're going to be signing. So we have different options here, or different ways in which we can enter data. So some of them are going to be drop-down menus like this, where you're going to go in and you're going to make a particular section that matches what you're doing. This one is just a simple yes, no. If we go down here, as I showed you, this one was a drop-down, but you're going to see if I change this to cooling system method, and I'm jumping around, so it's not going to work quite the way it should if you're going top to bottom. So I'm going to come here and click save, and you'll notice that this changes. So it was grayed out like this box here, and now it's open. So the form has different rules built in that it's going to allow you to enter information in some areas but not in others. So when you select the cooling system method, you have to enter a cooling capacity so we can calculate from that. If we go back up here and we select that heating system method, and then for this particular one we have to save it because we're out of order again, you'll notice that this gets grayed out, but now the heating capacity is open. And now we've got to enter a value in there so we can do the various calculations. So we're going to go in, we'll select cooling method, we'll enter a tonnage, we'll say this is a 4-ton unit. Again, we'll click save, and then we go down here. These items don't need to be selected. Another one, this is again another one we default because that's most often the selection, but you'll need to make sure that's right. We calculate this value based on the information that you gave us. We want you to enter in your test result there, and then you can see that it auto-saved. This is one of our trigger points here. So this updated says, yep, system passes. You'll notice up here that this now no longer says incomplete, it says pass. And now you'll be able to access the signature function. So all the forms work basically the same. It's either going to be a drop-down menu that you select from, or you're going to either be typing in a mixture of letters and numbers. Some fields are limited to numbers only, like this one here. You can't type in letters, it has to be a number. And that's going to be it. And then the other fields are going to be those that are auto-calculated based on various selections or data that you've entered. So the process is going to be the same pretty much on all the forms. Once you've gone through it, you've entered it, you've got it into a passing state, now you're ready to sign that document. So we're going to come up here, we're going to click on sign. And we have a couple of options. Now, depending on what type of user you are, you'll be presented with different options than other users. So for this one, we default to having the person that's filling out the form signing as both the document author and the responsible person. If you are only filling out the form as a document author, you're going to need to click on the link here, and that will take you to where the document author is going to sign. If you are signing as both the document author and the responsible party, all you need to do is come down here, click sign and close, and your signature will be applied to both of those items. If you want to review the declaration statement that you're signing to, you can click on the link here and that will take you there. If you want to post any information directly to the activity wall as you sign, you can type that in here and that information will be posted to the activity wall. The other option is, again, if you're signing as both responsible and document author, if you click on sign and next, what that's going to do is it's going to apply your signature to the document that you're currently working on, and then it's going to open the most likely next document that you would want to work on. So because I'm in a mechanical form and it's the MEC 20, if there was for example, a MEC 23 was required for this project, when I click on sign and next, it's going to take me right into that MEC 23 so I can start doing my data entry there. Now it's not going to work every single time to take you into the correct document, but most of the time it will. So you have those two options for either signing and closing and going back to the main screen, or sign and next, which will take you into that next document. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at the document author view. So when we click that, again, we have a couple of options for you to select from. If you happen to be a HERS rater, you're on a job site, you are completing the CF2Rs for the contractor, but you don't have signature authority and the contractor is there, the contractor can select themselves, because again, it would have to be a member of the project. So they would select their username from the list here. They would enter their password. And then when you click on sign and close, it's going to apply your name as the document author and their name as the responsible party. A second option that you have is you can designate a responsible signer. So your name will be applied as a document author, and then an alert will be sent to the project member that you say is going to be the responsible signer. They'll then get that alert either through their web alerts or through an email, letting them know that this document's been completed, it's been document author signed, and they can now come into the registry and sign it as the responsible party. If you don't want to use either of those options, you can just simply leave it as blank and optionally select and just click on sign and close, and it'll apply just your name as the document author, and then you'll have to go through the process of notifying the responsible person that they need to come in and sign that document. And again, you can do the sign and close or the sign and next, as well as post additional information to the activity wall. Now, if you get to this point and you decide, nope, I didn't want to sign this, again, you can close, and this is going to take you right back to that form. No signatures applied. Once a signature is applied, you'll see that we'll list the document author, the name will be listed here, and for the responsible person, that name will be listed there, so it allows you to track for that. When we go back to the main screen here, if you did assign a responsible person, then this will show up as orange, and orange indicates that the document has been assigned to somebody to do something, whether it's complete the form or sign it, and so that's an easy way for you to track which forms are completed and which ones have been assigned. Now you'll notice, as I mentioned earlier, once you've got in the form and you're starting working on it, it's going to show as not signed, which is different than not started, which means that somebody's been working on it, but it's just not been completed. Now, if you get to the point where you just want to start over, the form's either not working the way you want, or you're not sure what's going on, and you want to just essentially delete it and start from scratch, you do have that option. You can delete it. Now, this is only available if the form has not been signed. If the form has been signed, you'll first have to replace the form before you can delete the form. But deleting this will simply just take it back. It'll confirm, because again, if you don't want to lose that data, you don't want to click that button. But it'll take it back to that not started state, and you'll start from the beginning and have to re-enter all of your data. So one other thing that I will mention here is for these forms, if you do need to replace it, you've completed the form, but there was an error, you selected the wrong equipment type, or there's various reasons why you would need to replace that form. What you can do is you can simply click on the padlock icon here, which is replace. Again, it's going to confirm that you want to replace it because it will remove that signature. And if there are additional documents that are completed, those documents, if they rely on that parent document, they're also going to have their signatures removed. So there is potential penalties for doing this. But if you click on OK, it's going to take it back, and you'll notice that this MEC 20 is going to disappear here in a second. And now this MECA 1 goes back to that not signed state. So that MEC 20 is reliant on this MECA 1, so it's going to need to be edited, re-signed. So if we come in here, we're going to open it up. Okay, so once that opens up, you can see that it is still in a complete and passing state. We would go in, we'd edit whatever we needed to edit. We'd click on the sign. I'm just going to go ahead and sign as both responsible and document author. So I click on sign and close. You can see that this is now back to the state that it was, and now our MEC 20 is available so that we can go ahead and complete that as well. So that pretty much covers how to work with your various forms, complete them, sign them, edit them, and yeah, everything that you need to do with those particular forms. So if you have any specific questions about a form, feel free to reach out to our admin support team. We'd be happy to help guide you through that and explain the various complications that you may be experiencing. So thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.